I know I probably look like I've just got out of bed, and I'm really sorry, but it's not morning, and I haven't just got out of bed. It's the evening, and it's towards the end of the day, and I've had a very productive day, and I've only just looked up when I was recording this, and I'm looking at myself thinking, oh my god. However, it's not important how I look, right? Because if I'm cold calling and I'm talking to you about cold calling, what's important is what I'm saying and how I'm saying it. So long as I don't sound like I've just come out of bed, which I'm trying not to, I think the important thing is that you get some value out of this video. So here it goes. I wanted to talk to you today about objections. So this is kind of Wise Me Up to Cold Calling Part 2. So it's another snippet out of my book that's coming out in November. Got to get the plug in. So I just wanted to give you a little information about how I think about objections and how I overcome them. So this is the bit which is more the mental, overcoming them mentally before you even overcome them. And how do you do that? Well, first of all, let's have a think about what kind of objections you get at this stage, and are they really objections? So a gatekeeper might say things like, I've made a little list here, they might say, oh, the person's busy, not available today, or they're away, or whatever it might be. I can't put you through, we have a no names policy, I'm sorry, unless you've got a name, I can't put the call through. Or they just don't take cold calls, I'm sorry. So there are some what we would call objections. Now I would have to ask you to think about the word objection at this stage and listen to these so-called objections. There is another list here which is this a sales call? What is the call about? Is the person expecting your call? Right, so now same sort of thing, but this time they are questions. The last lot were statements, these are questions. Now, I said, are they really objections? So the reason I say that is because what does the word objection mean? Objection is when you're opposing something or you're in opposition to something that's been said. Now, the gatekeeper isn't opposing anything you've said yet, because at this stage you probably haven't offered anything and they know nothing about what you're calling for, because the majority of us, when you're cold calling, you'll go, hi, can I speak to? Right? So it's not an objection. So the first thing you've got to do is eliminate that word objection from your head and start to see what they're saying for what they're actually saying. And the first list that I mentioned to you, which is about the person is busy, I can't put the call through for whatever reason, the no names policy, or the person doesn't take cold calls. That's a statement. Each one of those is statements, and in each one of those statements, all the person is doing is informing you or giving you the reason why they can't put that call through to the person that you have asked them to do. All right? It doesn't mean we don't want to know. It doesn't mean we don't want you to call back. It doesn't mean I don't like you. Okay? It simply means I have a reason why I can't put that call through for you. So that's what you've got to remember. This is not conflict, all right? You're not in conflict with the gatekeeper. The gatekeeper is giving you information, but what you've now got to do is you've got to decide, do you take that information and go, oh, I'm going to get off the call? Or do you take that information and go, right, okay, so let me make the most of this opportunity with this person that I am already speaking to now. All right, so I know which one I do. If it was me, I would simply take that information and say, okay, great. So maybe you can help me. Maybe you can tell me a little bit more about. Perhaps then you would be able to help me or direct me in the right direction. Or, okay, so let me just get this right. If I had a name, can I come back to you and then you put me through? So all of these are ways of coming back, and the last one there where I said if I had a name, well, we all know you could probably go to LinkedIn, or you can go to any social media site or on a website nowadays and find a name, any name that you need to get through on. All right. Doesn't mean you should just not talk to the gatekeeper. I honestly think that you should also maximize the opportunity of the fact that you're talking to somebody right now, and that person's a human being, and you just don't know who that person is and how long they've been in the business and how much they know or how much they can share with you. So, take the opportunity to ask that person some questions. So, for example, the questions that you gave me, I know I say so a lot, sorry about that. But the questions that I had in terms as examples of objections were, is this a sales call? Right. Again, it's not an objection. This person doesn't know you. They don't know anything about what you're saying to be able to object. All they're doing is asking you a question to clarify or to understand the position that you're in or where you're coming from. So is this a sales call? The best thing you can do is be honest. Yes, it is a sales call. At least that way you'll know where you stand. And also what it allows you to do is, as I said before on one of my other videos, don't just answer the call and stop. Answer the call and throw a question back. You've got to bat that ball back. So is this a sales call? Yeah, it is absolutely a sales call. So when would be the best? Is that person available so I can speak to them? Okay, or is that person the best person to speak to about? I've asked for so-and-so. However, I'm not 100% sure if they're the budget holder for this kind of thing. If I explain it to you, would you be able to help me? I would just make the most of that opportunity. Always keep throwing a question back. The important thing here is the only way you're going to be able to throw questions back or come back with a really good response each time you get one of these statements or questions from a gatekeeper is if you've prepared some. So you've really got to understand what questions you want to ask. And the questions you want to ask are going to depend on what you need to know to understand if there is an opportunity for you here or not. Let me explain. David Massover is a friend of mine. I have a video out in my collection of videos where I'm having a conversation with him. He has written a book called Salesman's Guide to Dating. The whole idea of this Salesman's Guide to Dating is, if you think about when you're going to date somebody, if you're going to go and find somebody, or if you're even going to go to that next level of asking somebody out, surely that person's got to fit certain criteria before you ask them out. Yeah? Otherwise you might be wasting your time. For example, is that person married? You can't kind of ask them, you're not going to get anywhere if that person's already married or if that person's already dating. And surely you'd want to know that that person's single and available for you to be able to approach and ask out for a date. Now, apply that concept to prospecting, to cold calling. When you're on a call and you've got somebody there on the other end of the line who might be able to answer some questions to make sure that that company fits the criteria that you require to be able to sell to them, then I would say take that opportunity and ask those questions. Those are called qualifying questions. Get yourself a set of qualifying questions written down. It really does help. Take this whole idea that an objection is the first thing you come across on a cold call, because they're just statements. They're just telling you that this is the policy or this is the situation, all right? Or it's a question asking you a little bit more about why you're calling. Now, none of those are really in any way whatsoever threatening, and none of those are opposing what you have. They're just giving you an opportunity to ask lots of questions so that you can find out more, so that you know whether this opportunity is worth chasing hereafter. Might not be, yeah? And again, you don't know who that gatekeeper is. They might have lots of information that can help you. Right, that's a little insight into part of the book, which is about objections. And I really think it's a great way of looking at it and being able to have a more relaxed conversation. That gatekeeper is a human being. Make that gatekeeper your friend, and your friend will help you through the door. All right. Tip in part 1 of Wise Me Up to Cold Calling was, if you haven't recorded yourself already, record yourself and listen to yourself and ask yourself, would you listen to you? Okay. My next tip is, if you haven't already, listed qualifying questions that give you the answers to knowing whether the company fits the criteria that you require to be able to sell to them. If you haven't already listed those questions, then take some time out and sit down and list some questions. Honestly, you will find that when you get an objection next time, or a so-called objection as I would call them, you'll have all these questions and you'll be able to just fire them back, and it'll become so much easier, and what you thought was going to be a really difficult conversation will become a really nice, relaxed, easy conversation, so long as you remember that the gatekeeper is there to be befriended, not to fight. All right? So good luck with that. Hope it's helped, and I will speak to you soon. Take care.